Hare Krishna, everybody. Om Namo Bhagavate.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjala Chalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadatikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamani Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vatsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All of you, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama, Hare Hare. Right. So before we go to the section D, so we are talking about the three modes of material nature, and clearly we know how the three modes are working, and it's a practical application. And let's pay our obeisances to Shishi Radha Govinda so that we can understand the three modes clearly and transverse the same. So what it talks about and what we covered yesterday is liberation and conditioning of the living entity. How the original soul. So basically two questions. Why did this, what did Krishna create? Krishna created the spiritual one. And why did he create? Because he wanted, because it's a wish of the Supreme God. Otherwise, he will not have action, and he wanted some, all of us there. So originally we are all liberated, right? So there's no conditioning. So how do we get conditioned? Because we started to desiring to lord over the world, and therefore for the wish of the living entities, Krishna created the material world, right? So just like how pure water from the rain is so clean until it touches the dust in the flow. So the moment we touch the matter, we get polluted, right? And the three modes which are unmanifested in a sleeping stage all come alive. So between 5 and 9, description of the binding of the pure soul by the three modes. So the pure soul, how it gets, bound by the three modes is clearly explained. Now 14.10, recognizing the supremacy mode within each person, right? Within each person, what are the reasons why these modes are coming and who is the winner? So yesterday we saw the race between the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. Finally, tell me who's the winner? Who was stronger? Forget the winner, but who's stronger? Goodness, passion or ignorance? Which mode is stronger?
All are equal.
All are same.
Thank you so much. All are equal. So equally they fight for their position. Just that how we work matters. And between 14 to 18, we are going to see action and death within the three modes. And the last one, 1927, we'll see how we can transcend the modes. It's an important part. So just a quick summary. We saw that there are 5 types of mukti, and devotees don't even care about mukti. And the fifth mukti is sa yucha, merging into supreme, is not worried or not of interest for bhakti yogis like us. So where are we talking about is sa rupya mukti is what you see in this picture, where you look exactly like that of Krishna, right, in Goloka, and that of Narayana in the Vaikuntha planets. So Vaikuntha means no anxiety. So that is the meaning. Hare Krishna. So here introducing the glorification of knowledge, and he basically tells, right, and this knowledge is very important because all the sages understood this, and that's how they were able to succeed in getting liberated. So we also saw the 2 tattvas. What are the 2 tattvas we saw here? This picture, I was talking about 2 tattvas. Who is this? Krishna. I hope you are unmuted. Who's this?
Kshirodakashayi Vishnu.
Kshirodakshayi Vishnu is after the Kaushal. This is in the Kaushal.
Garbhodak Shai Vishnu.
Garbhodakshayi is inside each universe. So this is the original.
Muladhara.
It's called the Mahavishnu or the Karnodakshayi Vishnu, right? So Karnadakashayi Vishnu is the original or the Mahavishnu. So what happens is from his pores through his breathing only multiple universes is called, and these images, so from him comes the Jiva Tattvas, right? Lives are coming. So, and he is the original Vishnu Tattva. So from there, we have, he glances on Rama Devi. So what is happening is, from them, like Rama Devi is none other than Lakshmi, and from him Shiva comes, right? Of course through Brahma, but I'm just saying that Shiva. So from Shiva comes the Shiva Tattva. And we have one more Tattva called through Rama Devi, she takes a version of, and the Shakti Tattva is. So we can see 4 Tattvas in this picture: Vishnu Tattva, Shiva Tattva, Shakti Tattva, and Jiva Tattva. This is the only picture which captures all 4. And you will see here Sadashiva Loka, which means it's half in darkness and half in the spiritual world. So it's half here, half there. And so Shambhu and Maya Devi are going to be the major role players for us in all our planets, right? In this material world. And therefore Maya plays a crucial role, because even though she's a mother, we want to like take the that of the father, right? So in other words, I can just tell Vishnu is our father and Shambhu is our uncle, Mama, right? So Mama always will like to satisfy us, but we need to get hold of Vishnu because he'll always be the seeker of the good. Hare Krishna. So this one we already saw how the soul gets influenced, right? Now these 3, and Krishna reports to Maya or Maya reports to Krishna. How is the reporting structure?
Maya reports to Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So you know that, the moment he comes in contact, these 3 modes play and living entities get control. We also saw the 3 videos of people get into mode, and all 3 modes. Which mode is the best of the 3?
Goodness.
Which mode is, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Mode of goodness.
Yes, and which mode is required for liberation?
Yeah, ignorance.
Prabhu, if you're in ignorance, you'll never get liberated.
We don't need, we have to go beyond the modes, 3 modes.
Shuddha Sattva.
Shuddha Sattva. Thank you so much, Matari. Thanks, Arun Prabhu. Traigunya Vishya Nishtraigunyo Bhavajuna Nirvando Nitya Satyasya Nir Yoga Kshema Atmavan. He is telling, Krishna is telling Arjuna in the 2nd chapter, Traigunya, go above the modes. So here we tell we should aim at goodness, because when a child is at 35, fail, what you will tell? Aim at first class, 60, then gradually go up, right? So that's why we tell that we will go level by level and go to goodness, so that it's easy for us to go to Shuddha Sattva. So tell me why goodness is goodness is good, but why goodness is not great? Why can't we just live in goodness and get liberated? What is a showstopper?
Because goodness can lead us to, it can bring ego in us and then can bring us down to either.
It will bring what, Prabhu? Your voice is a little feeble.
It can bring ego, ego
so
in
you will
us
have,
as well.
Thank you, Prabhu. So it's more than, yeah, that is true. But if I can just sort of, modify the version of what you said, goodness, they have self-content and knowledge. So they're very satisfied. So typically, indirectly, what you said is right. It will bring in ego and content, and they will not be able to listen. And therefore, they can't get liberated in that mode. Now, in passion, what happens? What is the dominant feature? Why can't we get liberated in passion?
Yeah, more action will be there in.
Yes, more action. So what? Even Krishna conscious is more action. But your answer is
passion.
Greed and desire is so much.
Thank you so much. Yes. So you're very passionate. Greed and desire is so much that you won't feel like giving that up at all. Your search is just bound, and you will just get tied onto the material planets, right? Because you're so attached to the fruits. And what about ignorance? Shambhu was telling ignorance is good. Why not ignorance? Why ignorance binds?
Yeah, it will have more madness, illusion, and inertia.
Thank you so much. So, it is going to drive us to madness and therefore laziness, right? Therefore, all three modes are dangerous if we want to advance, and let's go. So now we saw the race, right? So all three are having race, and who's the winner? We don't know. There's no standard winner. Each and every time, each of them will go and take over. So we also saw the 9 gates of knowledge, and if you fill them with knowledge, you will be able to get into the mode of goodness. And obviously, passion, they are so much hankering, and they are just stuck there. And addiction is this, right? Now we are going to go to D. And so in D, 14.14 to 18, so Hare Krishna. So let's move about actions and death within the modes. What happens at death to one predominated by a specific mode? So now we know all three all three modes are running, right? So they are running. So at the time of death, one particular mode is dominating. See, for all of us, why do we call each of us as a mode? Because we'll have a mode, but it's not like, it's not just one point, right? It's a range. Right, it's like a color. So it's not the color of a flag where this color divides. No, but if you actually do a shadow shading, what happens? There is this shaded version, right? So same way, the tree represents all three modes. The top modes are mode of goodness, middle is mode of passion, and bottom is mode of ignorance. And it's not a thick line; it's a shaded line. So as you grow, more like a gradation. As you go up, you see goodness keeps increasing. And as you go down, ignorance keep increasing, right? It's more dominant. So that top mode in Brahma is the highest mode of goodness, right? Whereas Indraloka also has goodness, but it is also having a tinge of passion. That's why Indra wants to rule over. He doesn't like anyone doing all the yagnas, so that, especially Ashwamedha yagna, if you do sacrificing of 100 horses, he's scared because you can take the position of Indra. He doesn't want to give up the position. So there is passion, but there is more of goodness. But whereas for us, we are largely passion. That is why we say Brahma plays a role of passion here. But each one of us, even in passion, will have a dominant feature. So we may have more of goodness, we may have more of passion, or we may have more of ignorance. So in that stage, if we dies, what happens? And result of what actions, what happens predominantly, right? Hare Krishna Mataji or Prabhuji, one of you can read. And can someone tell me who are these? Does anyone know the story of this? You know the story? If you know, you tell yes and you can type. Meanwhile, you can read. Otherwise, I'll tell you the story. Hare Krishna, please go ahead and read.
When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So if someone dies in the mode of goodness, which means how do you achieve mode of goodness? We are going to see in the next chapter. Not even next chapter, the 17th chapter. So what is going to come is, if the death happens in the mode of goodness, very beautifully, you will, the person will go to heaven. So that is what Krishna also tells, right? So if you are dying when you're doing your duty, right? Typically in a war, it means that you're in the mode of goodness, right? Because what do you think in your fight? You'll only be focusing on the work, and that work is for a cause, right? So you're just duty bound, and you're not thinking of yourself, and therefore the person will do. Yes, I'll tell the story. So therefore, mode of goodness, you will reach the higher planets. That is what is spoken. Hare Krishna. So now I'm going to tell the story. We all know about how we started with Karnodakshai Mahavishnu, who impregnates, right, the material world, right? So in each universe, we have a Garbhodakshai Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Brahma came, right? So Brahma, initially when he came, it was all dark. He didn't know what to do. It was dark all around. And therefore he went through the route, because he came through that, right? And tried through his own endeavor, but he failed, right? He could not succeed. So then he started praying Vishnu, and Vishnu said, you do meditation for long years. And after you do meditation, you will be able to, get clarity. And then he understood, and therefore he started, having children, right? So, so what happens first is he started, through 25 main children come in, right? The first are the 4 Brahma Kumaras. And from Brahma, after that, he gets the sages, and all of them are born. So coming to the first concept of 4 Brahma Kumaras, Brahma is telling you have to go give children, you have to grow. The Brahma Kumara, the Sanat Kumara children, right? So they say, no, I don't want. It's very dangerous world. I will continue to live only as a 5-year-old. So they don't wear dress or anything, but they're great Vedis, right? So they are very elevated, right? And then he comes and gives the Prajapatis. right? And you know, Daksha is one among them. And Daksha is, thank you, Swami, please. So Daksha is a Prajapati who gets 10,000 children. So he says, okay, all you 10,000 children, go take the blessing of Narada and start, you know, creating, progenerating the world. So they all come to take the blessing of Narada. And Narada says, you are 10,000 children, and he talks about the world, and he says what will happen and what can happen and how you'll have an impact of, you know, becoming influenced by these, the modes, and modes will cause a harm. Unfortunately, I think neither the class was taken for us, nor did we listen to the class then. Otherwise, there won't be a requirement for this class. So the moment they heard this, they all say that, okay, we will all become Paramahamsas, we'll all become sannyasis. So they tell bye-bye to Daksha and go off. So Daksha is very, very angry. But what can he do? He again, you know, gives birth to another, you know, 5,000 children this time. So as usual, you know, on the way, they have to take the blessing of Narada. They come, and Narada says, always follow the senior. So you can see your senior, who's your brother, what have they done? That's the best part. So again, the 5,000, you know, of them also become sannyasis. So now Daksha becomes very angry, and he tells Narada, you cannot be in one place. You will be constantly roaming. So any blessing for such devotees become a blessing in disguise, right? That is why Narada is seen in every place, wherever there is distress. When Vasa asks, he is there. When Vasa has distress on what to do. When Dhruva had distress, right? You know the story of Dhruva, right? Suniti and Suchiti, two mothers. Suniti is his own mother, and Suchiti is the stepmom. Uttanapana is the father of Dhruva. So how are they related to Brahma? Brahma, so I told he has children, right? So Swayambhu Manu is one more child of Brahma, and Swayambhu Manu has two more children. One is Uttanapanu, who is the second son, and the first son is Prithu. So the second son, Uttanapanu's son only is Dhruva Maharaj. So Uttanapana has two wives, who is Suniti, who is a good wife, first wife, and Suruchi, who is the second wife, who is the stepmom of Dhruva. So all of you know the Dhruva story, so I'm not going to go. So therefore, why I'm bringing is you will get the relationship, and that is why they highlight Dhruva, because Dhruva's great grandfather is Brahma, but he never goes to Brahma, but he goes to you know, Vishnu, you know, to rule over the world. And therefore, even for material desire, what did Dhruva ask? He said he wanted the world bigger than Brahma. Even then he went to Vishnu. Now Narada gets a curse, but he sees through, and he gave that Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya to Dhruva. Now when Parikshit was in the womb, Narada saw. So that's why wherever, and Brihari Narada was there. Valmiki during Ramayana time also Rama. So Narada is, though they say that he creates stiff, but he does so much of good deeds also, right? So therefore, you can see, you know, Narada's role here. 5,000 again went to sannyasa, and Daksha gets angry and scolds him. And then what happens is Daksha decides, boss, no more men. I am going to see, that time also women only come as a savior. So therefore, he decides that he is going to beget 9 children. So he gets, you know, daughters. One daughter only is Sati, the wife of Shiva. Okay, so that's how the story comes into play. Hare Krishna. So now we'll move to 14.15. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please go ahead and read. Hare Krishna.
When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities, and when he dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Hare Krishna.
So goodness, we know, is promoted to heaven, and passion, we know that you will be born in fruitive activities. So basically, if someone is in the mode of passion, he will, the pictures here all represent ignorance, so don't get confused. So if someone is in the mode of passion, what happens is he will be born among the active, fruitive people. Like for example, if he's a business guy and he has also done some charity and he's a good guy, he's reborn and in the same kind of a family among riches as a Vaishya, so that he can enjoy the fruitive activity. But whereas if he's in ignorance, obviously they go to hell. People have this doubt. So after they serve, notice in hell, they come back and they are born as the animal planet. So depending on the behavior, the person is moved to the animal planet. Example, so you see this girl very underdressed, right? The magazine itself is called exposure, and therefore the she'll be born as a tree because she need not wear dress. So do you know the story? You all will know Kubera's son, Nayagriva and Hari. Okay, I should not tell. Kubera's sons. What is the name of the Kubera's sons? Hare Krishna. Sorry, don't mind.
Manigriva and Nalakumara. I mean, Manigriva and.
Manigriva and? Type in the chat, and meanwhile I'll be telling the story. Most of you know. So when Narada came, see Narada comes there also. So these guys are, Kubera's sons. So, they are all highly intoxicated and they are with women completely undressed, and they don't even get up, right? Well, the women get cautious and they respect Narada, but these guys are just drunk, like the typical rich children, how they are not bothered. And therefore Narada curses them that you don't even remember what you are, and therefore you live for thousands of years. Now, you all know that the benediction of God is so powerful. Therefore, Narada is born as what? Narada comes there, and his curse is also a benediction because they come here. And you know that when Krishna was tied in, we know the Damodar Leela, where he is tied in the motar, right? In that stone, huge stone, he runs, and between the the trees fall, and so much noise is made. So much noise is made, and that they they come back in the original form, and therefore they get liberated. And that is a story, and that's how he will be born, right? Thank you so much, Hema Mataji. Nalakubera and Manigriva. Yeah, Hare Krishna. So these are the two sons. And then going forward, so same way, if someone wants to sleep a lot, best is to take the body of a bear because you can go into hibernation. And if someone is, mamsa means eat meat. That is the meaning. So earlier, they used to do it once a month, and they used to go right there outside forest. They used to, do everything themselves. They used to peel, they used to cut open, they used to clean, and they used to exalt. That process itself was so tiring that people will lose interest, right? Today, machines have come and it's become ukra karma. Fat, gets cut, and it goes to the next level. So this is the situation. Now, there was a model who was majorly into all this, and someone told, why do you want to advertise? I don't know the name of her, for the sake of this. Instead, do for a good cause. And what is a good cause? Blue Cross. So she started dressing up. She was underdressed and she was modeling, giving poses, telling that, animals, we are also like animals. We are not wearing any dress. Animal doesn't wear any dress, and therefore we should not harm animal. The intent may be good, but it could be presented in a different way. One need not get into nudity to show, that animal killing is wrong, right? Hare Krishna. So let's go to the next one. Karmana sukritasyahu satvikam nirmalam palam rajasastu palam dukkam ajnanam tamasapalam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. By acting in the mode of goodness, one becomes purified. Work done in the mode of passion results in a distress, and actions performed in the mode of ignorance results in a foolishness.
So therefore, what is happening in the mode of goodness, right? One is very purified, right? We can see them going to temples and all that. Whereas passion, they are in distress because constantly they don't end, right? They keep going on and on and on and searching. And the problem is, if you see the house they maintain also, it will be very cluttered, right? It may not be that clean. It will be like more than cluttered, I would say. It will be like overloaded with stuff, right? So that is passion. And if you see ignorance, it is like the steps, right? It's closed. They're trying something where the result itself will not be there. So that is a classic mode of passion. And you can see this picture and how they appear in the various modes. Hare Krishna Mataji, go ahead.
From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, grief develops. And from the mode of ignorance, foolishness, madness, and illusion develops.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Sorry, I'm drinking, very hungry today. From the mode of goodness, right, real knowledge develops, right? So, absolute knowledge, right, develops from the mode of goodness. So, what happens, what do you call real knowledge? Which is real knowledge? What do you mean by real knowledge? MBA, medicine, engineering?
No, Mataji. Understanding the Supreme Lord.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Understanding that Krishna is supreme, absolute truth is what is the real knowledge. That's why they say that very clearly about knowledge, right? Anyadevahu vidyaya, anyadahur avidyaya, idi shushrumadhiranam yenastad vijachakshore. Hare Krishna, which means that very clearly, you have two knowledges, and what you are not studying, you may call illiterate. But even this material knowledge is as good as illiteracy, right? You need to have spiritual knowledge actually for taking you to the upper level. And, and also there is a very nice English proverb, a little of science takes you away from God, and a lot of science takes you closer to God, which is what is happening. And what happens in the mode of goodness, in the name of knowledge. So real knowledge will develop. But are we really taught? Do we have any schools? Now some schools are coming up where they teach Bhagavad Gita, even abroad, even in UAE, they are having schools which start off with Bhagavad Gita, and UK, they also have a paper in Bhagavad Gita, right, in schools. But do we have anything like that, right? Do we even have? So I was talking to you all, right? So when I was traveling, I met this Sadaji, and I had a chance to interact. So I was thinking somewhere, someone should give us company. So I think I've mentioned this, right? I was asking them, we are, Muslims read typically from the age of 3. Christians also read something called Bible from 3, but we don't read. What about you all? He said, no, we also start late. We also don't. How late? He said, no, we don't necessarily start. We may start, but it's not, we don't necessarily start. Then we do by 6 or 9. So I was feeling so embarrassed. 6 or 9, what do they say? Even now when we preach, what do they say? You're so young. Even me, they say, you're so young. What is the need for you to get into devotional service? So I keep telling, no, I'm so old, right? We should start from the womb. You look at Parikshit and look at both of them, both Parikshit as well as, our Prahlad, they all started when they were in the womb of the mother, right? So devotional service, the age is right there. Only then you won't get into this mode, right? So there are some parents also who encourage the children to go to pub and all that, not because they don't like or like, it's because they feel that if the child is so perfect, maybe the child will become sannyasi. So are you okay in the child going to a pub and becoming a drunkard, or becoming a drug addict and getting themselves into a rehabilitation center? Is that okay?
No.
So if that is not okay, why I'm telling you is the moment, so there is always this, right? There was a pujari who told, I wanted my elder son to become a sannyasi. Okay, then why not your second son? No, he is very intelligent. I'm planning to send him abroad and get him higher study, and probably, he will settle there. Boss, he is a pujari. You want one son because he is not intelligent. So do you understand? Sannyasi needs so much of knowledge, so much of Vedas to understand. Earlier days, in earlier yugas, sannyasis were those who were cream of knowledge, right? Because they considered as the head of Vishnu. Today, it's become reverse, right? Least of knowledge, where they feel they cannot survive, are those where they want them to get into temples. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mohandas Prabhu. He has put in attendance link, so you can probably, enter your detail. And then you can see the faces. I think someone told me in the youth batch, this is from Lord of Rings. Familiar face. I got confused to Harry Potter. They said this is from Lord of Rings picture. But can you see how the face is, right? So calm and beautiful in mode of goodness. In passion, there's constant stress, anxiety. If you see, most of us will experience passion. And why is this anxiety? Because we are always worried about future. What should I do? As Mataji is telling class, what should I do after 1 hour? What breakfast should I eat? Or what I should pack? Constant anxiety on any one thing. Constant. So I remember suddenly my nephew, he's a small boy, but still what happened is when he was 3 or 4, he used to be very curious. He used to tell what for breakfast, what for lunch. So we thought he's a small kid. But then we let go. Now he's 12. And even at this age, the first thing he will have breakfast, he would have not even had his water, or he wouldn't have burped. Immediately say, okay, what is for lunch? What is the plan? And that's his routine, not just one day, routine, right? Why I'm saying is you get passionate in anything. It could be that, or it could be, games, it could be sports, it could be dresses, right? You just don't have a place to stock, but still you get passion to keep, buying, right? So that is a mode of passion. And what happens? Grief develops, right? And then your mode of ignorance, you're foolish, you're completely maddened, and, your illusion. So that is what it is. So results of action in the various modes we saw in goodness, the knowledge develops. Krishna Conscious Society helps to develop mode of goodness. People can see things as they are, and they can be happy in peace. So therefore, Krishna conscious, even in mode of goodness, makes us down to earth, right? They tell us how we should behave. Slowly, as I said, Krishna conscious also, you all are in Bhakti Vriksha, and I keep hearing that, Mataji, one devotee told this, one devotee told this. You will, because you think we are all in mode of goodness. We are not, we have the combination. So something or the other will constantly take a lead, right? So all of us will have experiences, but will experience stop us from growing? Because we should always not worry about one. There will always be one devotee who will be unhappy. There will always be one devotee who will be extremely happy. Right? That always happens, even in our world, right? We'll see one super great person and super bad person. So initially there was one, a class coordinator who was running some classes. So, for women, like, and it was called Sadhu Sangha. And she was telling me, why don't you go ahead and, help create small groups before Bhakti Vriksha was formed. Bhakti Vriksha, thanks to Namanishta Prabhu, where he gave us structure to it. He said, you create it and you know what you do is you will read whatever is not there. For example, team, I'm sure you all have Bhakti Vrikshas. Yes or no? Please put in the chat box. I hope all are there. And you all wanted 13 chapter. So you all should reread the 13 chapter together in Bhakti Vriksha and try to explore. I'm there, but I'm just telling as an example, right? Take a special class in Bhakti Vriksha and run through that. So what is happening is, now let's talk about Bhakti Vriksha. So prior to that, it was called Sadhu Sangha, and each of them had their own names, and they used to do. So my job was not to run the piece, but just to create and just give them a heads up, 5-10 minutes and come. So I had this habit of creating, asking someone to get into the Zoom. First day, getting into the Zoom, explaining and coming out of it, so that people are very clear, and I'm also not there, so that the discussion is convenient. So likewise, we created on the day 4 groups. Right, and all 4 groups we created based on convenience, different groups, different timing. And there was one devotee in one particular group, when I was messaging in the group telling that anyone who knows Zoom, if not Google Meet, can, first I use Zoom because that's habit, can please log in, right? Please create a Zoom ID, and then let's create a Sadhu Sangha group, right? So this devotee replied telling, Mataji, why don't you create? I said 2 things. One, I do have a Zoom ID, of course, but these are official IDs. So I told her no, because I won't be there for long. She said, then she replied that another lady told, I don't know. Another Mataji was telling, I don't know. And before anything could come up, there was one devotee who sprung up, and she told that if you do not even know to create a Zoom ID, why are you admin? Okay. Of course, why do you have to coordinate this? Absolutely, there was no need for you to coordinate this. I don't think your presence is required. If you can't, there was one big para, right? So then I explained, telling that this is not about creating a Zoom ID, it's about sustaining the ID. So whoever can create the ID, takes the lead and takes it forward for creation of that, because it's more like a friends thing, right? So I request one of them. So then, she quit. Then we added, then others said, please do not talk like this, Mataji. Then she said, my presence seems to be disturbing rest of them, because they're questioning me why I'm talking. So the point, what I'm telling you is, when others at least question, more than one person, see, one person can always find mistakes with us, but when more than one person tells the same issue, it's important that we retrospect, right? And see, maybe we may not have thought from that angle. It's important that we may not have intended, but it may be giving that thought, right? So you should. So after a long time, there was another sweet girl who told that, can I do a Google Meet? I told, well and good, your choice, you all can work it through, right? And then we left. And then privately, 2 of them messaged me telling, Mataji, why you never gave an answer that you know to create a Zoom ID? The point was not about Zoom at all. Why I did not give that answer is not that way. What I felt is, even assuming that I do not know to create a Zoom ID, I don't feel it's a qualification required to teach Bhagavad Gita. So we have a lot of teachers, right, who are not really tech savvy. We have teachers, especially in other languages, not English. We have remote languages and very elderly Matajis. We have teachers at the age of 70. So of course, there are some 70 years Matajis who are very, very talented and smart. But what I'm saying is, there are Mataji at that age. So therefore, there may not. So Zoom should not be a showstopper. So we do have blessed admins like Mohandas Prabhu, who will create Zoom ID, who will do, and people like Neetu Mataji who will upload. So we don't really have to know Zoom. So for me, instead of justifying the fact that I know a Zoom ID, I just thought it was not relevant. So why am I telling this is, even in the spiritual world, we all have shades, and colors, right? So we all are not coming under, even if we call ourselves goodness, the goodness is shading, like how Brahmaloka has complete pure goodness, right? And we have other lokas where Indraloka is also goodness, but it is also shaded with passion. So like that, every goodness will also get loaded. And why I'm telling you is, when it applies to the top planets itself, if it is like this, so here we are with mode of passion. So obviously we will be shaded a bit with goodness and we will be shaded a lot with ignorance, right? So please be prepared that you will come across all kinds of people in all atmospheres, right? So even knowledge can create stress. Even knowledge, as how Arun Prabhu told, competition, ego will come. Yes, unknowingly it will come, right? Unknowingly it can build up a lot of ego, right? So that is that sometimes we just feel, right? Sometimes for some people get into that. Some of them don't get into it by nature. But the tendency is the purpose has to be served. That's it. You should not get into the fact that, okay, I am doing this. The once the I factor comes, then, you will get into the your subtle body starts hugging you tighter and tighter. Hare Krishna. So result of action in the mode of passion. So Krishna has always provided for your need, but not for your greed. From passion, greed develops, right? Greed, constant hankering. I was talking to you yesterday about Anmola Mani, right? A lot of other devs, not just him. Thousands and crores of money they will have, but they will constantly be trying to get more and more. The time never ends, right? They will never get into a point of satisfaction. Okay, I'm completely satisfied. I don't want anything else. Never ever come in their life, right? So they are constantly anchoring. So that is very important. Neither happiness nor peace of mind they will get, because when completely you're an anxiety, what I'm going to do next, what I'm going to do next. So all of you here have office to go, right? Tell me, when you're doing office work and having a break of 2 minutes, having a tea, how do you feel? You feel relieved, but you also are scared, right? Oh my God, we have a lot more to do. Yes or no? Do you?
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Right? So that's constantly running at the back. But whereas when you're listening to the class of Bhagavad Gita, how you feel, you still may have a bit of anxiety, but at least 80% of your anxiety is down, right? Most of the devotees say, am I right in this team too?
Yes, Mataji.
Right? Because your mind is spiritualized, right? You're listening.
It's like that, we are understanding what actually the things are, where.
Yes. So Jnana, that is why, Prabhu, this particular module itself is Jnana. And why Jnana? We don't need Jnana, many tell, right? No, a basic amount of Jnana is required for Bhakti. To understand Bhakti itself, Jnana is required, right? Only then we'll be able to transcend. If you do not have Jnana, then you'll not understand. You'll never be able to you'll be like a child who says, why I pet the dog was very nice, it licked me. I pet the snake also will be very nice, it licked me. No, it will strike you, right? To understand that, a 1-year child needs to be educated in its own way to scale its brain. So we should be educated in the spiritual way to scale our brain, right? So that is why Jnana is required. And ignorance, right, from illusion develops the everything, madness, foolishness, everything. A lot of people who argue, right, they keep arguing on a very strong point. Why should I not do this? Who told I will keep alcohol also for God? All this set of people will be in the mode of ignorance. Typical classic ignorance category is we will see that in depth in 17th chapter. But just in one line, I came to know that there is one person who gives in charity and supplies to a lot of people, the beggars and street people. Bida, Bida? Not Bida, no. What do you call that small cigarette? Bida only, no?
BD.
Thank you, Prabhu. BD. Bida is tobacco, sorry. So BD, right? It's a small version of that cigarette he gave.
Yes.
And very common among the celebrities, when the celebrities enter a pub or a bar, they will tell it's on house, right? So there you see, though there is mode of passion, because they want their name, they want to show off, and there is a mode of ignorance, right? So, in the sense you wanted to do this, right? So this is, I've noticed this always, right? So depending on the area. So if there is, so I have seen, there is this place in Ananagar. So we had all gone, and that was, I think, introduction, and Dhanush was, so I was treating, and Dhanush was there, incidentally, that cine actor, Rajinikanth's son-in-law. And I later understood that, that was the first day or whatever. So he said, we were there and we were paying the bill, and he said not required because it's on house, right? And then he said, no, it's okay. I said, it's okay, because why to, I mean, we hardly know him, right? So why should he pay for us? But that represents mode of passion, because he's not doing something wrong. He's just supplying ice creams and waffles. But, you know, generally out of fame, it's not charity. Because someone wants charity, you give to the needy, not to people who already are going to pay the bill, right? So there you see passion. And the point is, you know, we were feeling very embarrassed, right? I mean, not embarrassed, like we thought, okay, we could afford. So there's no need for some stranger to, you know, afford. Take it up. Now, if you go to ignorance, what happens? The same thing I've heard Salman Khan, whenever he enters a pub, you know, he sponsors the entire bar. He says the thing is on, and they say he's so liberal, right? Yes, there is passion in that, but there is also ignorance, because what is he sponsoring? He's sponsoring alcohol, right? And you are actually, by sponsoring, getting people to drink more than what they can afford and getting them into addiction, right? So there you see mode of ignorance. So why I'm telling you, the same action behaves in the two ways, right? One is passion and another one is ignorance. So you can see both in the same crowd of celebrity where they see name. And whereas we also saw a celebrity, Vishal, where during floods, he dropped everything. Besides giving money, he got onto the floor and donated. And two people, when I was trying to read, you know, Jackie Chan and Jet Li, in Hong Kong, I've seen the kind of hospitals they've built, and it's not even highlighted. Not even highlighted. Cancer hospital, donation hospital, all for the poor and needy. And people talk so bad, this Jackie Chan, huh? He has not given his property to his son. Right? So bad, horrible, yeah. How can he do that? So, you know, actually I became curious. So that's when we started digging up. So why I'm telling you is, I'm not telling it's perfect what he did or imperfect, but then there is same thing, right? The same celebrity, you can see more of goodness, the kind of hospitals, the kind of things which are done, right? So why I'm saying is, this is what it is, right? The competition where you try and appreciate each other. It is there everywhere, even among devotees. Normally, when you say devotee, it means genuinely a good devotee, right? A pure devotee highlights the other person. They say that this person is greater than the other person, right? And instead of going and telling, no, I am only Suddha Sattva, I am only Sattva, I am Madhyama Dhyari, no, they don't project themselves. They always say this person is the greater. So in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's story, we have, this, two brothers, right? Who actually, all of you all know the story of Jagai Magai? Yes or no?
No, Mataji.
No, acha, okay. So that's then I will conclude, I will tell that story at the end, then that will take 5 minutes, because from Jagai Magai, then I will take you on. So any devotee starts highlighting, please remind me Jagai Magai, I will tell at the end. Any devotee will be very much trying to be very happy and very excited about the fact that the other devotee serves more, because they learn from them. Anyone for that matter, not just devotee, a person in the mode of goodness always sees the other person from where you can learn.
Yes.
So even in office, right? Oh, this person did this part right. Maybe I should also redo. Instead of thinking what he did, why should he do like that? No, you start doing that, right? So that becomes a classic point, right? So there was even in normal sense, it's not just about devotee conscious. I'm taking celebrity, for example, because the world is stuck with celebrity. But even there, you see modes. Like there was a combat, right? There was a personal combat between Jackie Chan and Jet Li. They also get into genuine fights, but they don't stage it. They do it in a forum which is closed without cameras, right? So every time they keep asking who are the winners, they didn't. But there was an interview when they gave, and they asked, who is great, right? So they asked Jet Li, who is great? Is Bruce Lee or who? So he said, we are no match to Bruce Lee. And they asked why. He said, we've always fought in a ring. Right? A ring, right? When you know the strength of the opponent. He said the strength of the opponent will be 10% more than me or 10% less than me, right? Because more or less their weight is same, their age group, experience, everything is same. So you are not put in a ring where somebody is black belt and somebody is a orange belt. You have the same kind of experience when you actually are staging a person. Whereas Bruce Lee went and he was asked to pick fights with complete strangers where he had no idea whether the person's strength is higher or lower. And also we, to an extent, will know the competitor, right? We will go and see the previous videos as to their styles, their plus points, but Bruce Lee had no clue. He had to fly out of the blue, right? So we can nowhere be close to him, right? This is called, even in the mode of passion, in the sense, normally we say film industry is ignorance, passion. You can see goodness in people, right? So it is not, and why I'm telling you this is even among devotees whom we consider great, they'll be telling they understand mode so well, and they will tell, no, I'm in the mode of goodness, I'm in the mode of Sutta Sattva, and they will keep quarreling for power position. Why I'm telling you is modes can control anyone as long as you're in the material world. Once you traverse the mode, then you go to Sutta Sattva, then you can enter the spiritual world. So imagine if you're going to the spiritual world, what will happen if you are stuck by these modes? You will constantly fight, right? So there is one small issue which happened in a spiritual world, not issue, it was out of concern. So in Ayodhya, since Ravanavami is coming, I'm going to add a little drama story. Our Hanuman, tell me if I've told you the story, because I was impressed with the story, that's why. Hanuman, his life and bread is to do service. He's a servitor of Rama, okay? So every devotee decided we should give a day break to Hanuman. We should give a day's break to Hanuman. Good, no? Consciousness is good or not? Yes or no? Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Good, ma'am.
Good, right? So they all think that Hanuman, one day we should give a break. And we will share the work of Hanuman. It's too much, but we will all share. So they all decided, that they will do this work for Rama. And when Hanuman gets up, there is no work left. Flower, there is no work. This, there is no work. That, there is no work. And what happened is Hanuman, instead of feeling good, he started feeling restless, which nobody understood. Because obviously he will not go and tell, because the biggest devotee does not snatch the service of another devotee. Why service? It's like property, right? We understand property. We understand the concept of property, right? So if I go and snatch, the property of Arun Prabhu is going to feel bad, or Hema Mataji, she'll feel bad. You'll tell, oh my God, she's so bad. Radhika snatched the property. So their service is a property, right? They possess, right? So he doesn't want to go and tell them, no, I want this. They wanted with good intent. So he was restless. So he didn't want to go and break their heart by telling that you people, what you've done is horrible also. Nor he wanted to tell, it's okay, give back my service. He didn't want to pick a fight, unlike us. Hey, this is mine, give it to me. Hey, this I did, don't touch, this is my file, this is my room, this is my bathroom. All this goes on, right? So that's not there. So we always see Paramatma is excellent. He's in the heart. He always liberates. So immediately what happened is Rama, right? Lord Rama yawned, right? He just yawned. And Hanuman can fly, unlike us. He can fly faster than the mind. He just ran and did this, for the yawn. So that is when the devotees understood, oh my God, Hanuman is such a great exalted devotee and he is waiting for service. Even the tiniest service he doesn't do. You can tell how long, this yawning, though, what do you call this? When you just do this when you yawn, right? Like you do that. So when Rama was doing, he just went and did this. That is when they understood that Hanuman is being in anxiety, waiting for this service, right? So this is the exalted position in Vaikuntha and Goloka. And I'm telling you all this because since you all are going to go to Goloka, you will have to work in, how you say, unity in diversity. We all learned this when we were in 3rd standard, 4th standard. So that concept, we may have diverse thoughts because we are in 5 rasas. What are the 5 rasas? In Goloka?
Vatsalya rasa, Bhakta, Shanta, Seva,
Shanta rasa, then 2 more.
Dasya rasa.
Dasya and 1 more. Arjuna.
Madhurya rasa.
Madhurya. Did you tell Sankhya? Okay, you told Sankhya. Okay, Madhurya rasa. So you have 5 different rasas kept over there. So you can't be competing and fighting, though all rasas spin around Dasya. Why I'm telling Dasya? Because Dasya becomes center. Everyone serves. Mother also serves. Wife also serves. Yes or no? Friend also serves. Even the flute serves. Right? So that is the chantras, right? So we have to learn to live in that mood. So that is why I'm explaining so much, because besides goodness, we all have to scale above goodness to reach this mood. Hare Krishna. Right? So therefore, no knowledge is irresponsible in the mode of ignorance, and therefore he is distressed and takes to intoxication. 14.18 Urdvam gachanti sattvasta madhye tishtanti rajasah jaganya guna vrittistha adho gachanti tamasah. Hare Krishna. Please read.
Hare Krishna. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So it's like take off, so falling down. So mode of goodness, we all know they go to Swargaloka, and in the mode of passion, they come back to the earthly planets, and ignorance, they go to the hellish planets. Hare Krishna. Now, is it permanent? No. This is not going to be permanent, because why is it not permanent? After you go to heaven, also it's like your visa. You go, let's say, to Europe, and after your Europe tour gets over and the visa gets expired, you have to come back. Even if your son or daughter is living in Europe, you have to come back to the earth. So you will be back after your credits of higher planets is over. Same way in hellish planets, once your credits are over, you will be back because your credits are over, right? So you have to come back to earth. And same way you will have, earthly planets, you just coming there directly. Now, earth or heaven, you can go to both the places depending on the sin. So it's not that I have done 100 good things and I did 10 sins, so minus. No. You will experience both depending on your availability of space. For example, there was one person, not devotee, he was mad after girls, generally. So you can imagine what kind of a womanizer he was. And he used to carry a flower every day to one girl. And there was one particular flower which during every breeze, it just flew and fell into the water. He was trying to track it, but he could not do it. And on that day, Hare Krishna, I'm so sorry. So why I'm telling is this is a whole thing which is going to be very confusing, right? Going to the upper planet, going to the lower planet, and complete mess of the whole stuff. So what happens with this fellow? He's looking at the flower and he's running after the flower. He's just chasing the flower. He just failed. So he said, Krishna Param, right? That word he told because some sense came in him. So after that, he continued his all abominable activity and goes to Yamaraj. So Yamaraj says, for whatever you have done, you get 5 minutes in heaven and rest of the time in hell. So you choose hell first or heaven first. He says 5 minutes in heaven, right? 5 minutes in heaven. And the moment he goes to heaven, he says, I need a big scissor and take me to the garden. He goes to the garden and he cuts the flowers, right? And almost half the garden, and he says, Krishna Panam, Krishna Panam, Krishna Panam. And he says that one flower could bring me 5 minutes. So imagine so much, right? So of course, he's trying mode of passion in heaven also. But now I'm not stretching this by telling what happened to him. But what we are trying to tell in this story is that if you go to heaven, we cannot be like him. We will get engrossed. The moment you see the flower, we will forget Krishna. Because that is why heavenly planet people are so jealous and so, not even jealous, they are so excited to see us. They say that Bhuloka is so nice because this is an apt place because avatar, gods come as avatar here. Whereas in heavens, people forget. Because they have so much of, nothing is wrong there. There, if you have Ramba and all, going to them is not wrong. And Somaras is not alcohol as we think, because Somaras is even given in Yagnas, right? And you get purified in Somaras. So you have every kind of enjoyment. There is aeroplanes, everything is there. So you can never be able to take it forward. So that's the big. Now summary is section E, which is transcendenting the modes, right? 14.19. Hare Krishna. So now before that, so we are done with this modes. What happens when you're alive and when you're dead? So you come back to the earthly planet from heaven and even from hell. But then you have to face it. From hell, if you come, you'll get into animal life. Right? Hare Krishna. And the final session is transcendenting the modes. Very important, right? How do we transcend the modes, which we are going to see from now on. 14.19. Hare Krishna. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. When you see that there is nothing beyond these modes of nature in all activities, and that the Supreme Lord is transcendental to all these modes, then you can know my spiritual nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. He says that when you see that there is nothing beyond the modes of nature, right? When you can see that there is nothing beyond the mode of nature, no one has taught activities, and the Super Lord is transcendental to all the modes, right? The Lord is super transcendental to all kinds of modes. Nothing is beyond the modes of nature. And if God can transit, then you will know my spiritual nature. So very clearly, that's the final, right? You've crossed the mode, you're in Sutta Sattva, and you're able to directly see eye to eye Supreme Lord, right? That means you're transcendental. Then my spiritual nature he's talking about is about, right? When will you see Krishna's spiritual nature? Is when you see him eye to eye, right? So he's telling you're already in Goloka Vrindavan. So platform of real knowledge is what is the platform of real knowledge? 3 modes perform all material activities, right? All our material activities, including getting a body, is from the 3 modes. The Supreme Lord is Nirguna and he's above the modes. And how can one transcend the modes? By understanding the science properly, by learning from proper souls. Right? Science is very important and you understand. That's how you do. Mohandas Prabhu, you can keep Prabhupada's video ready. Hare Krishna. And who is the real spiritual master is what is the final thing. Real spiritual master is Krishna. Because he's the Chaitya Guru, from the heart he treats. That is why Balram is considered as the greatest of all gurus. Because he actually teaches, right? Radharani is also considered as Guru because they are all in that Rupa to give us benediction, right? And this is classic example. And this is how, so why do they say science properly? Because only when you know you're not the body or soul is fine. But that is not good enough, right? We learned it in the second chapter. Have we been able to implement this? None of us could, right? Maybe somebody could be more tolerant, but we were not able to implement that I'm not the body, I'm the soul. So modes are very important. And this is your time clicking from now on, where you will see in the next 1 week how you see a person. Trust me, I have experienced this, that when I see a person behaving bad, first thing which comes in my mind is, okay, this person is in the mode of ignorance. And when I see someone so good and I can't understand, I think, okay, this person is in the mode of goodness, right? So this automatically gives us clarity. Otherwise, we will be, what did I do? You know, the I factor is guilty. Or we'll think that I've done so much, but still this person is so bad, right? Or is this person too good? Can I trust? You know, those kind of concoctions, we will come. So that's a perfect, So now we saw this. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes, he can become free from Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, birth, death, old age, and disease, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. So forget about liberation. Even here, if someone is not tied up, right, he is so peaceful. Example, Prahlad, imagine what he went through. Nothing affected him. Amrish Maharaj, right? He did all kinds of bhakti. Nothing disturbed him. Irrespective of whether a demon is coming here, Dhruva Saman spitting on him, nothing disturbed him. He was unshaken. That means he's already liberated in the soul. Janaka Maharaj, these are all classic examples, right? All the Mahajans, they don't get influenced by any of this. So this is like breaking the shackle. Now the choice of whether it's a gold shackle, silver shackle, or iron shackle is irrelevant. We spoke yesterday that we are going to lock Arun Prabhu in a door, and will it matter to Arun Prabhu whether we have locked the door? That door is made of gold, iron, silver, or iron. Would he even be thinking of the kind of wood which puts him behind the door? Yes or no? Arun Prabhu, you tell me, you be bothered to test, maybe with the intention to escape, right? You just want to run out. Why would you even care, right? Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes,
So that's where we are in. So now 14.21. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Arjuna inquired, "O my dear Lord, by what symptoms is one known who is transcendental to those modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature?" Hare Krishna.
Now Arjuna starts his question, right? Oh my dear Lord, as usual, how do we know the symptoms? Does this resemble something? Oh my God, I've heard this somewhere. Can anyone recall having heard this somewhere? Does it sound familiar? Yes or no?
In chapter 8, Arjuna will ask continuously 5 questions.
That is right. Chapter 8 also he asks, but typically exactly this. By what symptom? Chapter 8 is right. He asks a lot of questions, but he asks a lot of questions everywhere. So chapter 8, he asks 8 questions, but prior to that, exactly this. You know, what symptoms? The word symptom. What symptom is one known who transcends the mode? Not about modes. It talks about what symptoms.
Prajnata.
Huh?
Sthita Prajnata. Steadiness.
Oh, amazing. Arre, Shyam Prabhu, excellent. Shrita Pragya. How does he sit? How does he walk? Can anyone recall the chapter? How does he stand? How does he live?
Chapter 2.
Chapter
2.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All stalwarts. So this is actually not a second level question. It's a Bhakti Shastri question, going and referring with one word the whole book. So it's chapter 2. Chapter 2, he asks, you know, what are the qualities of Sthita Pragya? How does he talk? How does he walk? How does he do? All this is what he is explained. Right? Arjuna questions is, what are the symptoms of the one who has transcendental the modes? He's clearly asking. And what is his behavior? Right? And how does he transcend the mode? So he clearly is asking, right? Similar to that, how does he state? So it's Sthita Pragya, transcendental of mode, Uttamadhikari, Dhira, right? Mahatma, all these are interchangeably used. Now we have all at one shot. 14.22, Hare Krishna, please go ahead and chant. Read.
Hare Krishna. The blessed Lord said, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, nor longs for them when they disappear. Who is seated like one unconcerned being situated beyond these material reactions of the modes of nature, who remains firm, knowing that the modes alone are active, who regards alike pleasure and pain, and looks on the cloud, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is wise and holds praise and blame to be the same, who is unchanged in honor and dishonor, who treats friend and foe alike, who has abandoned all fruitive undertakings, such as man is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, so well read. Thank you so much, Mataji. He says, who does not hate illumination, attachment, delusion, right? He's just not at all affected by anything. He's beyond the material nature, which means that sukha, dukkha, dosha, we saw, right? Happiness, distress doesn't matter at all. Modes don't even interfere. They have no problem, right? For him, sukha or dukkha, I said like pleasure or pain is same. Gold or stone, he treats equally. Now, it's not that he can't differentiate. He can differentiate, but he doesn't care, right? He's not bothered about whether it's a stone or whether it's gold, because he values them equally. Someone praises him or someone curses him, it all matters the same for him. He is just not bothered at all. Who treats both the friend and foe alike. Very difficult. We may forget a foe, but we cannot forgive, right? If someone has spoken harshly or someone has really done bad to us, we may forget the person, right? We may delete them from our mind and heart and from mobile, but we won't be able to forgive the person, right? We always want to stay away. Yes or no? At least I want to stay away. If someone has really caused pain, I believe there is one proverb in Tamil called Dushtana Kanda Dura Vilagu, which means if you see someone bad, stay completely away from the person. I prefer to stay and follow that policy. Is it easy for us to go and sit with someone and reform? Tell me, am I alone or you people will go and hug your friend foe? Stay away, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Thanks, Prabhu. So who has abandoned all fruitive active taking. Such a man is said to have transcended. Such a person, he is transcended all the modes, right? Is what is mentioned. 14.26 Mamcha yo vyabacharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati tetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Hare Krishna. My God. Yes.
Hare Krishna. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the mode of material nature and thus comes to level of Brahman. Hare Krishna.
So he's saying very clearly, one who engages in full devotional service, right? Complete devotional service, he will not fall down in any circumstance. No matter for nothing he will do. This is called Uttamadhikari, right? We have 3 levels of faith. Based on faith, they are classified. One is neophyte. That is basically entry level, who are all us, right? Entry level people are what are the Kanishtadhikari. The middle level, who are into preaching, who teach, they have strong faith, but they won't get into argument, but they see a difference. And preachers will always be at the Madhyamadhikari state. Even if he's a Uttamadhikari, he has to come down because he has to do a little bit of understanding and judgment. And the highest is the Uttamadhikari, who is perfectly at that level, right? Who is absolutely an exalted soul. And no matter what, he will never fall and no modes can influence him. So Lord Krishna's third question mode, right? How do you transcend modes? One who engages in full devotional service, right? Satata yuktanam, tesham satasa yuktanam, right? So that is what is always think of me. Repeat all the time, think of me, right? Chitta matkata pranam, bhogente parasparam, kadayanti cha mam nityam, tushtanti ta ramanti ta. That means all the time think of me. Kadayanti ta, talk about my kada, right? And ramantita means smiling all the time. You'll have happiness, right? So that is what he's saying. Feeling in all circumstances. At once transcend the modes of material nature. So he will transcend, and thus he will reach the Brahman form. That means the supreme level, right? He will reach the supreme person is what he is talking about. Hare Krishna. 3.27 Brahmano hi patistatham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukasya ikantikasya cha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, which is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness and which is immortal, imperishable and eternal. Hare Krishna.
So he says, I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, right? So he says he's impersonal Brahman and it's his constitutional position. and he is immortal, imperishable. He is always eternal, right? Immortal because nothing can, soul is always eternal, nothing can happen. And imperishable, nothing, what is the size of the soul?
1/10,000 tip of the hair.
Thank you so much. And here they're talking about impersonal Brahman, which is Krishna. He's saying he's the basis. So that means the source is different, right? When I say I am the basis for this, I am the cause for something, it means originally I'm something else. And the cause is a supplement of that. Do you understand? The primary object is different and the supplementary is different. Primary, so he's telling I am the basis of impersonal. So here Krishna is talking, I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, which means light, right? Which is a constitution position. That means that's the ultimate position, right? Which is immortal and imperishable, eternal. So he says impersonal. So therefore he says he's a cause for that. That means he originally is a person, right? He's bringing that point again and again, right? For example, if this person pushes the switch on, bulb is on. So you don't tell continue. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Supreme person is full of 6 opulence. Can anyone tell what are the 6 opulences?
Strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, renunciation.
How much percentage, Prabhu? This much or this much?
Means?
No, you told how much beauty, how much strength, how much knowledge, how much renunciation. This much.
Unlimited.
Infinite.
Thank you so much. Unlimited. So it's called all beauty, all strength, all knowledge, all wealth, all strength, all renunciation, and all knowledge, right? So it's all we have to add. But perfect answer. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thus, realization of Brahman like eternity, imperishability, and ultimate happiness are included in bhakti. So is bhakti, do we see bhakti end is an end? No, bhakti accepts both Brahman and the Paramatma and the Supreme Person. So it accepts all the realization. So when you say Brahman realization, we don't explicitly say because it's already, right? So when I say I take care of the house, you won't come and ask, okay, then this room, because the room is a subset of the house, right? So it is taken care. So 14th chapter, we'll conclude with the summary where living entities, although Brahman in nature, to lord over the world, he's come to the material world and gets contaminated. He has a desire to enjoy, therefore he falls down and gets associated with the modes and the desire, whichever dominates, based on that he gets a material body. And the devotional service, how it helps to transcend this position. Unlawful desire is cut. How do we do? By practicing 9 processes of devotion, and thus you situated in the Brahman platform. So what are the 9 processes of devotion which you can follow?
Hearing, chanting, remembering, worship, archanam, vandanam, dashyam, further
Sakyam.
Atmanivedam.
One thing which you left is Padasevana in between. So Atmanivedanam is that of Amrish Maharaj, where all 9 he did. Otherwise, each of them represent one here, right? So Hare Krishna, once again, I think last is a summary. So we already saw how you can be liberated and conditioned, how liberation and conditioning of living entity, which is an introduction part. 5 and 9, we see how the modes bind the material nature and the eternal soul. And 10 to 13, we see, the race, which is superior. And we concluded any 3 can always race one to another. And action and death with the 2 modes, what is the result in a particular mode if we die, and how do we transcend the modes? Now, what is very, very important, which we should know and understand, is not just how we are bound by the 3 modes, how we can untie. First thing which will come after this is, Mataji, I'm born in this particular mode. What can I do? Absolutely, there is no hard and fast rule that you have to exist in that mode. I'm born poor, for lifelong I'll be poor, next generation will be poor. Will you agree? You will tell, no, I was born poor, I'll work hard to become rich. Yes or no?
Yes, Mataji.
My father had 10,000 rupees, so I also have the right of equivalent of 10,000, which is probably 10 lakh, and I will not earn a penny. We don't tell that, right? So then why are we getting possessive about the mode which we have acquired from our family? Let's get bigger and bigger and richer by not material means, but by the modes, right? Krishna. And with this, I will conclude this chapter. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everybody. Any doubts? Any doubt? Any doubts?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Mataji, this conditioned, the conditioned word, what actually it means staying in the comfortable zone. That is a condition.
Yes, Prabhu. Sorry, I couldn't hear. Address.
Mataji, this conditioned life, conditioned soul. What actually it is? Conditioned means what?
Condition means what? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, Mataji.
Condition means, Prabhu, what do you tell? What is the meaning of a condition?
No, that I know it. How to it is a particular environment which is a controlled, conditioned.
Right? Yeah, I know you know the meaning. That's why I brought this. So here, condition means the soul by itself is eternal and superior and clean. The moment it comes here, like how the air condition, when you switch on, it conditions the air inside and cooler. Same way, it conditions the eternal soul and makes it succumb into one of the qualities, which is either goodness or passion or ignorance. Right? It conditions. That means by nature it is clean, but this influences this and conditions it and makes that nature as their nature. Right? For example, I am angry, but I was never angry. But the mode of ignorance makes me angry and conditions that. So it's not my original nature. It is a conditional nature. So there's something called original, right? My originality is eternal and I'm very pure and clean. All of us eternally.
Yes.
Conditioned by an external feature, which are these three modes. So condition is an external source which has an influence or an impact in us, and it is not original by nature. Hare Krishna.
Means originally we are pure, but because of this attractions in this material world, we are stuck into this cobweb. That is the condition.
Yes. We want to lord over. We come here, and because of the three modes and which drive our desires, we are stuck in the cobweb.
Yes. Okay, Mataji. Just
thank you so much.
In a layman's language, the cobweb and all these things. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji.
Mohandas Prabhu, can you please play Prabhupada's video now? I will take further questions and tell story after this. Krishna.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam.
So, it is not our business to criticize, but the symptoms of Kali Yuga is very, very severe, and it will go more and more. We have simply passed 5,000 years only of the Kali Yuga, but the duration of Kali Yuga is 432,000 of years. Out of only we have passed 5,000 years. And after passing 5,000 years, we find so many difficulties. And the more we grow in this Kali Yuga, the days will be more and more difficult. The best thing is that you finish your Krishna consciousness business and go back to home, back to God. That will save you. Otherwise, if we come back again, the difficult days are ahead. We have to suffer more and more. So, Krishna is described here as Ajo. Ajopi san abhyatma bhutanam iswarupi san. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Ajopi. I am unborn. Yes, Krishna is unborn, we are also unborn. But the difference is that we have been entangled with this material body. Therefore, we cannot keep our position as unborn. We have to take birth, transmigrate from one body to another. And there is no guarantee what kind of body you are going to get next, but you have to accept. Just like we are accepting in this life one body after another, the child is giving up his childhood body, accepting the boyhood body. The boy is giving up his boyhood body, accepting youthhood body. Similarly, this body of old age, when giving up, natural conclusion is that I will have to accept another body. Again childhood body. Just like there are seasonal changes. After summer, there is spring, or after spring there is summer, after summer there is fall, after fall there is winter, or after day there is night, after night there is day, as these are cycles one after another. Similarly, we are changing body one after another, and natural conclusion is that after changing this body I will get another body. Utta bhutta paliyate. This is very logical and supported by this Shastra and spoken by the greatest authority, by Krishna. And why should we not accept it? If you don't accept it, that is foolishness. If you don't think that there is no life after death, that is foolishness. There is life after death. Because we are accepting one body after another since time immemorial, we cannot think of that there is life eternal. It is difficult for us. Just like a diseased man, he is lying down on the bed and eating there, passing stool there, passing urine there, and he cannot move, and very bitter medicine, so many inconveniences. He is lying down. So he is thinking of committing suicide. So this life is very intolerable, let me commit suicide. So, in desperate conditions, sometimes the philosophy of voidism, impersonalism is forward, to make the things zero. Because this life is so much troublesome, sometimes even one commits suicide to get out of this, troublesome life, a material existence. So the philosophy of voidism, impersonalism is like that. They cannot shudder to think of another life, again eating, again sleeping, again walking. Because he thinks eating, sleeping means on the bed, that's all, and suffering. He cannot think otherwise. So the negative way, to make it zero, that is void philosophy. But actually, that is not the case. The case is that you are in trouble on material condition. You get out of this material condition, then there is real life, eternal life.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, any doubt? So if there is any doubts, we can take it forward. Otherwise, please mark your attendance and we can end the session. Is that okay?
Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you.
So please read your
Hare
13th
Krishna.
chapter again and please come back and definitely we will revisit that. Right? Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram,
all of you,
Ram,
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you so
Krishna
much.
Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Mataji. Hare
everyone.
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.